some people may want Gordon Ramsay cooking in their kitchen. If you're a ball knower, you may want Brad Holmes. But what you don't know is you want Zach and Colby cooking in your kitchen. Welcome to our personalized mock drafts.
The very first spinoff episodes for Mittcast.
Yes, sir. Uh, and today we're going to go through our mock drafts and then we're going to do a combined first round mock draft, just switching every other pick here. So do you want to get started with your mock draft? I know you didn't do any trades, so yours might be a little easier
Yeah.
to follow.
Yeah. So I'll go through mine. Yeah, I didn't make any trades. It's really hard to predict some of that stuff, especially once you get past the first round. So, um, I didn't do any. But with the first pick, when I was doing my mock draft, Johnny Newton happened to fall right into my lap at pick 29.
I like
Um,
that.
it was either him or Kool Aid McKinstry. That's a tough choice, but I think you would go Johnny Newton. Um, Looking at yours, he's on yours. Um, you ended up taking him a lot later than me,
That's not Johnny
but
Newton.
uh, no, with pick 61,
Oh.
unless we can go back and forth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's go back and forth.
Uh,
So yeah, no, I actually did not take Johnny Newton. That's a different Johnny down the board there. But my first pick, so just with the way it played out, a bunch of teams trade up and around. Somehow the Steelers ended up with the 30th pick, and they offered me 30 and 98 to move up to 29 and to give them 164. So I took it. And I went with hometown boy, did not play his ball in Michigan, but Darius Robinson, edge out of Missouri.
it's a solid pickup right there.
He's kind of your prototypical 4-3 kind of guy. So, I think he fit well along Hutch. Hutch kind of more of the speed rusher. He'd be more like the power rusher.
Yeah, I like that pickup. But yeah, so I wasn't talking about Johnny Wilson there at 61, but at my 61, I was between either Marshawn Nealon from Western or Mike Sanders, and I went Mikey Sanders since I took Johnny Newton. If I would have gone Kool Aid, I probably would have taken Marshawn Nealon. I know that's probably a reach for where he's been projected to go, but my mock draft was really funky. So yeah, I took Mike Sanders at 61.
Yeah, and doing it with computers picking teams in place of other teams, it's gonna be a little funky. So at 61, this is kind of a little bit of a fun pick. Went Johnny Wilson, wide receiver out of Florida State. He was listed at 6'7" at Florida State. Combine came in at 6'6", but I am the biggest advocate for getting our jump ball receiver in this draft. And what better way than someone who is 6'6" to be your jump ball, your X receiver?
I do like me some Johnny Wilson. I don't know if Brad Holmes goes receiver that early though. I don't hate the pick. I
He
just
probably
don't.
won't. He probably won't. This is just my fun pick.
uh, with my pick at 73, I keep the defensive trend going. I went Braylon Trice, edge out of Washington, just kind of filling in all those defensive gaps with our first three picks, touching the D tackle, getting the corner, and now getting the edge out there too.
I like the pick. I don't know if he'll be available that late. He might be like an early second round kind of guy.
Yeah, he might.
But for me at 73, like we brag about our safeties a lot, but I think really on the roster right now is Iffy, Kirby, and then Brian Branch. So I decided to go safety here out of Miami, Cameron Kinchins. And if you haven't watched any Miami ball, this dude is a dog, an absolute dog.
I thought about going safety a little bit later on, so I like that our mock drafts aren't following the same pattern and
The same
routine.
path, yeah.
With pick 164, I had us drafting Ladarius Henderson a guard out of Michigan, just to kind of help build in the depth there at the offensive line. He wouldn't be a starter. Just kind of any security for Ragnow and anyone else going down throughout the season. He was a baller at Michigan, so that's who I went with there.
So I actually don't have the 164 pick because that was traded with the Steelers. So instead I had 98. And I actually had Mikey Sanders still fall all the way here. Granted, he's probably not the body size of the corner we're looking for in this draft just because Brian Branch is kind of proven to just be our nickel guy.
Right.
He's 5'9", but dude's an animal. He's an
He's a
athletic
dog,
freak.
and he's
So
only been playing the position for 2 seasons.
because
So I
he
can
switched from wide receiver, right?
correct, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's only going to keep growing with this position.
So I kind of like picking up there at the end of the third right there. I feel like that's kind of a steal. Probably won't happen in real life, but I'd enjoy it.
Now this is where it all really becomes a crapshoot because you have the computers and everything is just going to become a mess. But with who was available at 201, I went tight end from Arizona, Tanner McLachlan. Yeah, McLachlan. Um, I know there's some rumors that we might be getting rid of James Mitchell. Um, so I just took a tight end there to help just secure up that tight end room just a little bit.
Just
Um,
no real sense to it.
no real sense to it, except I've heard potential rumors about James Mitchell getting traded. So that's it.
Yeah, this is kind of where my ball knowledge falls off in these very late rounds. But with my 201, I took Logan Lee, defensive tackle out of Iowa. Standing at 6'5", weighing 281 pounds with a RAS score of 9.2. It's about all I really know about him. However, the higher the RAS score, the more of a freak athlete he is. I saw it and I said, you know what? Yeah, good pass rushing D tackle. You got DJ Reader clocking up, running gaps along with like Broderick Martin. Why not just take a nice athletic freak right there in the middle? He's still got decent size at 6'5", 281.
I mean, them Iowa corn-fed boys, they are something
They
else.
big. They have big boys.
It's funny at 205 you took who I was gonna take, but I was looking at it, I'm like, I can't take 3 Michigan guys. So instead, I went another edge out of Colorado State, Mohammed Kamara. Just to I feel like if he's gonna go take a edge later on with those earlier picks, he might double double dip with an edge and take another one later on, just to kind of continue help building up that edge room.
Yeah, 205. I went Cornelius Johnson. My thought behind this was, he's got the speed. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but I mean, 6'2", it's decent size, 212. He can kind of, fight with Khalif Raymond for that kind of wide receiver 4/5 spot, probably more so wide receiver 4. And also kind of put up some competition with like Antoine Green as well, former 7th round pick from last year. I just didn't really like a whole lot on the board at the time, but I know Cornelius Johnson, and I know what he's done to Michigan State's defenses in the past couple of years. So yeah, that's my reasoning behind that pick.
Yeah, like so I went with 249. I went receiver Bub Means from Pittsburgh. I don't. This is why I didn't make any trades, but I don't see Brad Holmes going nearly 100 picks from pick 73 to 164 without trading at any point. So I have a feeling he will. It's just Brad Holmes. He tends to cook in the draft, so I don't expect us to get a receiver this late. It's just kind of how it fell for me. But yeah, he was the tallest guy left on the board, and that's kind of what we need is more a taller guy out there on the receiving core. So that's what I went with at 249.
Then for me at 249, address the kicker position. If it's not Jake Bates, I think we go. I think we end up drafting a kicker. I kind of want him to, stay in Michigan. Jake Bates, please.
Keep
Um,
keep Jake Bates in Detroit.
but I decided to go with Harrison Mevis, also known as Thicker the Kicker. I don't know if you've ever heard
I,
that nickname.
I love Thicker the Kicker.
So
He
he is 5'11", 251 pounds.
he hit what, like a 62, 60. He hit like a
He's
60+ yard game
he's
winner
got
this
a
year.
big leg, like a real big leg. It was between him and Joshua McCarty. That's one of the consensus 249 picks I've seen across a lot of like Lions mock drafts. Decided to switch it up, go with Harrison Mevis here. A little thicker the kicker. But now it is time, and you guys are going to see hopefully a cool transition if I can, pull it off while editing. Time for the combined first round. So I will be picking at all the odd picks. Zach will be picking at all the even picks. So with the Bears at number 1 overall,
JJ McCarthy.
we're gonna go Michael Pratt, Tulane. Just kidding. It's Caleb Williams all day, every day. It's if it's not him, they fucked this draft up.
I hate that they traded Justin Fields before the draft, because you could have gone in it with at least a little bit of suspense, but now it's just all gone. Because like before, when they had Justin, it might have been like, oh, are they gonna go get Marv or trade down and maybe try to get a receiver? But nope, it's pretty obvious what they're doing
I
there.
mean, you had to get the
Uh,
value for Justin while you could, and
yeah,
clearly they didn't because they got a 6th-round pick out of it.
but I think the Commanders are between two guys here. I think because of who their offensive coordinator is, I'm gonna go Jaden Daniels. I think he fits the Cliff Kingsbury style of offense a little bit more, and it was
He's definitely more mobile than Drake May for
yeah. And
sure.
he typically plays like when you saw him with Kyler Murray, they would attack more so outside of the numbers, and that's part of that is because of Kyler Murray's height. He couldn't see over the offensive line, but that's also what they did with Jaden Daniels at LSU is they attacked a lot of outside the numbers, so it would be an easy transition for him there. So that's why I see them doing that.
So now with the Patriots at 3, I'm telling you right now, I heard Bengal say this, so shout out Bengal. Um, if Belichick was still the coach in New England, it's probably JJ McCarthy. Belichick is no longer the
Probably.
coach anymore, so it's Drake May. He's a dog. Behind a really bad offensive line, he still put up monster numbers in the NCAA. And I think he, outside of Caleb Williams, he has probably one of the highest floors besides like a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix, like the kind of more proven guys that can, um, they can perform. It's just how well can they perform? Are they like a Geno Smith or are they like
Right.
a Jared Goff, the GOAT?
So I know this is a pretty popular trade spot between the Cardinals and the Vikings. I think I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna say for some reason there's something ticking there in Arizona that makes them want to go Marvin Harrison Jr. and they don't trade away that pick to Minnesota. Just get Kyler a weapon. He needs weapons. That receiving core is awful out there in Arizona. So
So bad.
they
So
they draft
bad.
Marvin Harrison to give Kyler something out there.
So now here's the tricky part of where we're at here. Because if the Chargers don't trade down, I would assume you probably have the Giants taking JJ here. Do they value a guy like Midleague Neighbors enough to not trade down and then potentially swing around and get like a Brock Bowers or like a Roman Dunze down there at 11?
Right.
I don't know. What I do know is I know Jim Harbaugh. He does not need the flashy receivers, so he's probably gonna trade out of this pick. Oh wait, we want to do this a different way. We want to go Chargers to Minnesota. So I will have them trading up, Minnesota trading up to the Chargers for 11, 23. I would imagine they probably have to throw in one of these 3rd-round picks. They'll probably get like a 181 back, and then they don't got much of the future. So we're gonna say like a future third because it's so hard to guess these. It's hard to guess these, but this is probably what the compensation looks like. It's just hard to tell, and it costs a lot to trade up with a not with a just for a quarterback. Okay, trade got rejected. So look at that. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this. We're gonna select the Vikings again, and it's gonna be 5 for all of these picks. Cause you know what? We're just doing one round. Oh wait, because I'm doing this the opposite way.
Flip it, do the Trav. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
Sorry
It
for
just
sorry for the technical difficulties here, folks.
I'm tracking it over here myself, and I was dinking around with it too.
Bang, bang. Trade has been accepted. They trade away everything for JJ McCarthy. They sell the farm. Sorry about that.
Ricky Williams kind of move right there.
Moving to the Giants here.
Well, you kind of put the Giants in an awkward spot because it's now been pretty public that Daniel Jones is not going to be
Yeah,
the
he's
answer
not the guy
there
anymore.
after they just gave him a bag. However, there's not really anyone else that has the value that they're probably going to be looking for to trade down. Um, so I would believe they probably just tried to move on while also building for the future. So I'm gonna go Malik Neighbors here. You're getting any future quarterback a nice weapon to start off. Um, it's kind of hard to move on from Daniel Jones at that point if 4 quarterbacks go in the top 4 or top 5.
Yeah.
So
But the Titans here, this is it's a no brainer. I don't think this needs much
no,
explanation.
I don't think it does either.
I think they believe in Will Levis enough to where they're not going to try to take a QB here, and they know they need to protect him. So it's Joel, the best tackle in this class by a mile. Surprise, he's from Notre Dame. Those guys are usually kind of good.
And this is kind of similar to the Giants. There might be a little bit more value here for the like Broncos or Raiders to trade up here. I just don't know what that would be off the top of my head. Um, I know the Falcons got Kirk Cousins, but that defense also needs some help. I think they go with probably the best defender in this class. They go Dallas Turner. Kind of screwing over the Bears.
Yeah, and at this point, I really don't like a lot of people have them, looking at edge or looking at receiver here. They only have 4 picks in the draft. Only 4 picks. So I think what we got to do here is we got to look at what's available and what teams are coming up. If someone really wants Brock Bowers, they're probably going to have to jump the Jets here. If someone really wants Roma Dudze, they're probably going to have to jump the Jets here. There's just not a lot of teams that make sense to move up this much.
No, and the Chargers are now probably in a spot where they're going to get anything that they want here, offensive weapon wise.
So you know what we're going to do here? We are a Detroit show. The Bears are dumb. They stick it, and they pick it, and they go with Jared Verse. Now, Laiatu Latu is my huge draft crush. I think just for their style of defense, I think Jared Verse fits them more because you already have the Montez Sweat freak of an athlete. Kind of the same thing with, what I was saying with our previous mock draft here of going Darius Robinson to pair up with Hutch. You get the speed and the power. Jared Verse is very polished. He's a very powerful pass rusher. I think it makes sense. They don't trade down, and I just don't really know who's gonna trade up this far to get some of these players because I don't see a lot of these
Right.
teams really having that need.
Well, I think the Jets can't draft anyone here that can protect Aaron Rodgers from the turf there at MetLife. But they can draft someone to protect Aaron Rodgers from opposing defensive linemen, and that's Olu Fashionow from Penn State. Uh, I mean, plain and simple, their offensive line draft choices the last few years haven't panned out the way they wanted them to. So it makes sense. You got to protect the guy that you're paying a lot of money to try to bring you a Super Bowl and not just play 3 snaps in a year.
So I really thought you were gonna go Brock Bowers here. Um, Mainly just because they signed Tyron Smith. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did, but that's a
When you're Band-Aid,
he's a
yeah.
little yeah.
So now we're back to the Chargers here. Harbaugh's sitting here. Brock Bowers still on the board. Rumble Dunze still on the board. They really do need a receiver, though. I don't think I can talk myself into doing like offensive defensive line here. And Harbaugh's too smart to just let Rumble Dunze sit there and fall. So Rumble Dunze to the Chargers. It makes sense when your only receiving threat is Quinn Johnston, who can't catch a ball outside of his body.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way that we have gone through this mock draft has set up the Broncos and Raiders perfectly to not have to trade up and get a quarterback of their choice. Um, Either way, these teams are making the wrong choices. I'll just go Michael Penix here for the Broncos.
What? I personally think they're going to take Bo Nix. Um, Same explanation. Bo Nix to the Raiders. Pretty easy. So
Now
we'll
we
head
get.
straight back to you here at 14.
I mean, it's more so again by our fault in how the mock draft has gone. Yes, there are other needs on this team, but you can't let a guy like Brock Bowers drop this far and not be tempted to take him. I could see the Saints pulling the trigger. However, Talise, oh, I'm gonna mess up that name.
Talise Fuaga.
Fuaga. Yeah, he's also sitting right there, and they need some offensive line help. I'm gonna go Fuaga.
Makes sense with, Ramchek possibly not even playing at all this year. And Trevor Penning kind of looked great at the start, and then he
Yeah.
got kind of.
But how
So,
nice would this be for the Colts?
yep, just to go ahead and take our guy and probably my favorite corner in the class, Quinyon Mitchell. He's the perfect Chris Ballard player.
That's not where I thought you were going. I was just talking about
He is the perfect
Brock, and he's
Chris
still
Ballard
sitting
player.
there. Well, that's not what I expected you to do at all. Oh,
Because they
well,
don't really need tight. They got Kyle Granson. I don't really think they need tight end.
if it wasn't for the Seahawks, I mean, even if Pete Carroll was still there, I don't think the Seahawks would take him. But this is hard now. I don't.
He's a little stuck here. Yeah,
I am a little stuck
put him in
here.
a sticky situation there. I think
Uh,
Quinyon is a Colt all day long. As if someone doesn't trade up, he's a Colt all day long.
they kind of needed the help out there, anyways. I think we go back to back corners. We'll see Terry and Arnold go off the board here.
Ooh, Devon Witherspoon and Terrion Arnold in the same secondary? And Tariq Woolen? Sheesh. Legion of Boom coming back, baby. So now we got the Jags. The Jags. And we can't really justify Brock Bowers because they have Evan Ingram. And it's not like they're a heavy line, like two tight end type of system. Then we got a bruising back there. It's Travis Etienne, who's tiny. He's literally Theo Riddick reincarnated. So I just don't know much about what they really need here. I mean, taking a look at who's still here on the board. You got Brock Bowers. You got Leia Tulatu. You got Brian Thomas Jr. I think what I personally think with the whole Rashee Rice in bad receiver situation. I think that Kansas City sends them some kind of trade, obviously not the whole farm, to jump all the way up to 17. And they go ahead and they take Brian Thomas Jr., a massive human being with an insane athletic score. Insane.
Interesting. You getting the spice stirring the pot there a little. I like that. I like what you did right there.
Here, I think you can actually justify the Brock Powers pick finally, even though it should have been justified up here somewhere. He's not falling this far in the draft. I don't know what we're doing here.
No, I. You never know. It sometimes it just happens. I mean, look at Brian Branch. You know, it just
Yeah, true.
sometimes it just happens and it falls out. Yeah, Brock Powers.
Bang. So now coming up to LA, this hurts me because I love him so much, but they lost Aaron Donald to retirement. They're a very similar team to the Lions, I feel like, at least when it comes to drafting. And also, fun fact, this is their first round pick since Jared Goff.
That's our boy JG 19. Or
And
oh
I
God,
think
I'm dumb. 16.
and I
It's a
think
long. It's been a long day.
think they're keeping Leatu Latu home in LA,
Ooh,
and they go ahead and they take the athletic freak out of UCLA. And moving on to the Steelers. Who do you got for the Steelers?
this would be. I mean, it's just. Ooh, 1 second.
Oh, ooh, technical difficulties. A little elevator
No, I
music
thought I had.
incoming.
I thought I had to sneeze. Um. Anyways, I mean, it's just it would be a Steelers thing to do. They're gonna draft Troy, beef up that offensive line. Um, they're not gonna give any help to Justin or Russell Wilson. It's just been a
they're,
Steelers thing to do. They're at least not in the first round. They're gonna do their thing and just
they're just gonna keep drafting O linemen, hoping they
yep.
pan out. So coming up to the Miami Dolphins here, you probably do need a little O line help here. I mean, it's not like they really need receiver with Hill and Waddle out there. So taking a look at who's here, I'm kind of thinking like Graham Barton makes a lot of sense just because he can play just about every position on the offensive line. He's at 6'5, 313, so he's got extremely good size. And look at the RAS score.
Ooh.
Graham Barton, Miami Dolphins.
I'm not gonna waste your
Keep
time.
Tua upright.
They need help. Nate Wiggins.
Yep, yep. That's an Eagles pick right there. They let the freakiest athlete of them all for the corners drop all the way there. Now coming up to now the Chargers' second first round pick via Minnesota. You took the receiver, Roma Dunze at 11. Now we're gonna hardball ball it out. Who's the best lineman here? Who would they take? Who would they take? I think it's got to be one of these offensive linemen. They can't keep falling. You got Amarius Mims, who's massive. You got JC Latham, who's probably just the best raw blocker out here. We're gonna go with the best raw blocker.
Good pick.
Just hardball ball, man. Hardball ball.
He's done it everywhere he's been, so he's gonna keep doing it. And I think the Cowboys take Mims. I mean, you got to do something there, so you might as well.
Yeah, no Tyron Smith. That second coming of the Great Wall of Dallas is slowly but surely getting old. Get real old.
It is. It wouldn't hurt that if he doesn't have to start this year. You could just kind of have him sit there and learn, and so I think it'd be Interesting.
Coming up to the Packers. God, I hate this team. I don't want to pick for this team. It really does feel like an offensive line here. It really does. There's no Bakhtiari anymore. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to give him Tyler Guyan out of Oklahoma. Another one of the better pass protectors in the draft. It makes sense. They're just
Yeah,
going to keep investing in Jordan Love.
yeah, and Jordan Love has the weapons around him where they can afford to do something like that. Um, I'm doing this because I think I could see him doing it, and I'm also trying to put you in a pickle at 29. So
Oh, it's
chop.
Chop. It's Chop. Yep. It's Chop. All right, coming down to the Cardinals' second first round pick at 27 from Houston. So we got the best, wide receiver prospect since Calvin Johnson. Now the rest of it's a bunch of garbage. Oh man, that team's so bad.
That team is awful. They might be just in a BPA for most, if not all, of the
Yeah.
draft.
And the real question is it Newen or is it Murphy? Is it Newen or is it Murphy? I think they're gonna take Johnny Newen here. I feel like he's probably the better tackle prospect. It's not like him or Murphy could really swing out to edge. I think Newen's gonna be. I mean, despite the injury concerns, I think he is going to be probably the better prospect and probably overall player when it comes to when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I I like Johnny Newton more too, but it's kind of, although they're not necessarily the, are they? Mm, I mean, you could argue they're 1A, 1B for D tackles of this draft.
Yeah,
So,
I would agree with that for sure. Don't worry, I already got the wide receiver pick set up for you here because
oh no,
Khalil Shakir
I
ain't it a first. What? Huh?
oh I know they're in a weird spot. I don't know if a receiver helps them. Let me.
Khalil Shakir is their number one wide
I
receiver.
well, I know, I understand, but let me. Can't remember all their picks. 60. Mm, you know what? It's a strong receiver class. Greg Rousseau hasn't worked out. Byron Murphy goes here.
Byron Murphy. I will be shocked if they don't take a receiver there.
I
It's
would too, but I also could see him not because it's just how deep this receiver class is. They could probably pair a few of their later round picks and trade up into the third and maybe double doink or double dip in the receivers there in the second and third round.
okay. So you do put me in a pickle here because Cooper DeJean is here. Kool-Aid McKinstry is here. Jackson Powers Johnson is here. Adonai Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman. These are all players I really, really like. And you still got Darius Robinson down the board. However, we're not taking a receiver in the first round. That is not what Holmes is going to do. It's going to be a defensive pick. Like Darius Robinson makes a lot of sense. I think Marshawn Nealon makes a lot of sense because we go off the board so much and we take our guy, despite what everyone says. Kool-Aid McKinstry, I love him and I love the name. I just don't know if we're actually going to take corner here in the first round. Cooper DeJean, man. I like him. I really like him. But I have us sticking and taking our guy, Marshawn Nealand.
Ooh.
And we send the NFL Twitter into a frenzy. And all of you SOL Lions fans come out from the grave to claim that Brad Holmes does not know what he's doing. Let the man cook.
Let him cook. I I think Cooper DeJean goes here. I think this is another kind of pencil. You can kind of pen this one in ink that it's probably most likely going to happen. There's a few of ones A few teams that you can do that: Cooper DeJean, Nate Wiggins, and like the quarterbacks are probably all penned in for the most part.
Yep. Moving on to the Niners here. I see what their needs say, but I feel like this is Adonai Mitchell. I
Build
don't
to the
I don't know if Debo stays there for too much longer now that Brandon Ayuk has broken out in absence of him. They may be looking to move him, and this could be your chance to go and take a guy who, kind of like, oh god, who am I thinking of here? Kind of like Brian Thomas. He's big receiver. He's fast. He's great jump ball. Although I did see something today, and I don't know if this is just draft smoke to get his draft grade to fall, but apparently he's got diabetes, and when he's not in check of his diabetes, he's like a diva. Don't know how much I believe that. I just know he's a damn good football player, and that's my reasoning. I don't think Debo's there that much longer, and he's damn good at what he does.
I like the pick there. That well, and also Ayuk is also coming up on the end of his contract too.
Yep.
So, um, the Jags here with the trade down, I feel like they can go. I feel like there's two players here that they're going to be looking at, either Kool Aid or Xavier Worthy. They're either going to go get that receiver one for their offense and give Trevor Lawrence another piece, or they're going to try to make that defense a little bit stronger. Um, I'll go with Xavier Worthy.
Savior Worthy. Oh, let's go to full results here. So there's our combined first round mock draft. This is not going to be accurate
Oh,
whatsoever,
this is not.
and we only had what 1, 2 trades.
Yeah, that's. I feel like we've had like record-breaking amount of trades the last 2 years, last two
Yeah,
3 years.
yeah.
So
This is not happening. But here's our combined first round mock draft. Hopefully, we do pretty well. Um, we'll do our
we'll
own
have
separate first round mock drafts that we'll post up to the socials.
correct, and we'll also have this one posted on the socials that you can follow along and see how we do on draft night.
I'm so excited. As of recording this, the Lions jerseys drop tomorrow, and the draft is 8 days away.
It's like
I
Christmas. The
oh my
draft is like Christmas.
oh, oh my
Let
gosh, I'm
alone
so excited.
let alone with the traditions that we have in place for draft day.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. But I think that'll do it for us for this nice little spin-off we did. Hope you guys enjoy, and hopefully we're right. Probably not. Hopefully. But yeah,
Well,
let us know who you think your favorite team's gonna pick. Hopefully your favorite team is the Lions. If not, I don't know why you're watching us.
we're glad to have you,
Well, unless you're a Packers fan
or a Bears fan,
or a Vikings fan
or a Ohio State fan.
or a Seahawks fan or a 49ers fan.
But yeah, I think that does it for us. We'll
Yes,
catch you
sir.
guys next time.
Yer.